everybody, just to give you a bit of a heads up, I was first introduced or heard of Josh. We shared one of his videos on the Uplifting Content Facebook page. I'm going to tag it in a comment. But he is a master photographer. Is it called composting? Composting?
Yeah, compositing.
Compositing!
That's the type of work that I do.
Yay! Hello, gorgeous.
Yeah, I told you before, I was like, you want to hear? She can't hear.
So we had a joke that there was, I don't know for anyone who's on the, whatever, the BBC interview or something where a dad and his kids come running in and the dad's really freaked out, hi! And I just think that it's really cool and fun. So I like that we're doing it and it's not live television, but it's still fun. Anyway, yeah. Everyone.
My wife just called me too, which is hilarious. She's like, where's Nelly? She's up here with me.
It's all happening.
Let's just do this. It's real.
So yes, I'm going to share the video, but Josh does some master work with photography and did a very powerful video about, or projects turning kids with illnesses into superheroes. So Josh Rossi, thank you for joining me today.
Yeah,
Rossi, I'm sorry.
Thanks for having me. Let me get, Nelly's up here. All right, let's do this. Yeah, thanks for having me. Thanks for the intro. So I just barely finished sharing on my other pages. So there was a lot
of things that you had to work with there. So it's all good. We're good.
Yes, we're all good. Okay, let's do this.
Yes. So would you like just to take a moment to let our audience know a little bit about yourself and what is it you do? Because I can't even describe it properly.
Yeah. So I'm a commercial photographer and I'm also a digital artist. And I do a bunch of other stuff, but those are the main things. And I really started doing these sort of fun photo shoots with my daughter / philanthropy type shoots, that I recently did with the kids that were sick with cancer or other diseases. And, I don't make any money off of those. And so people are like, why do you do those? For us, it's really just, we wanted to do something that was going to make a difference in the world. I know it just sounds so cliche, but, me and my wife talking initially years ago, we're like, yeah, we just want to make a difference in the world. And, everybody says that, but it's like, how does that actually come about? And so I had my own ideas as to how to do that. And I'm religious. And so my first idea was maybe by doing religious art, just like the old painters of the Renaissance. I'm from Italy, by the way. So that's sort of background from Florence.
Florence, one of my favorite. No, wait, yeah. Was it Florence?
Yeah, Florence. So that's where I was born. And my dad, when we were younger, he'd always tell me, he's like, you come from Florence, the place of the Renaissance, you're an artist. So he sort of instilled that in me. And so, my idea of inspiring other people was doing religious art. And at some point I just realized that it wasn't really going anywhere. And certain religious art didn't really inspire me personally. It was just that I thought, someday somebody will be inspired by this, which I think it is good stuff. It is inspiring. But here's the point, was that I was going down this one path and all of a sudden this other path opened up of doing photo shoots of my daughter, which was like so random. So I did this photo shoot of Wonder Woman, which that sort of opened up everything. People called me after that. That went extremely viral, like 50, 60 million views. And people called me and said, hey, my daughter's the real superhero or the real Wonder Woman, or my son, he has cancer and he's the real superhero. And so from there, we got this idea of doing this bigger photo shoot and helping out these kids. And the main idea behind it was just to give them some relief. There's a whole story around that. I could just blab on forever, but it was just to give these kids some relief and just to do something cool for them. And then it just absolutely blew up. So that's sort of a quick backstory of, everything I've been doing. I also, for my professional type side of things, I do commercial photography. So I work with bigger clients like Adobe, Acura, and, taking that and applying it for these kids and, my daughter's photography has just been super fun.
Yeah. I love them both. We've got videos of both of them, and I'm actually going to try something just because why not? Doing a screen share of the video of the turning the kids into superhero thing. I wonder if I can do that live, guys. If it messes up, I apologize profusely, but so let me just play that. It's only like a very short video. Actually, where is it?
Man, you look so good on camera. I look like a bum.
No, no, you look great. You need to. I think your camera thing. It needs to be cleaned.
Wiped clean or something. I'm really Mac. But
You figure that out. And I'm going to play this video. Everyone, let me know how this goes because I'm trying new things. Woo. Oh, I think I've already done the share. Okay, here it is. Awesome. So like the whole time I'm watching it, I'm also freaking out just to see, guys, did that work? Everybody can, if you can leave a comment and let me know if it worked. That's the first time I was kind of playing.
Worked for me. It looks like it was working.
Oh, it did? Fantastic. What was it like doing that for you? What was it like? How was that?
Oh man, it was amazing. It just, holy cow. It's been a roller coaster of just emotions and just stuff that's been happening. I mean, the biggest thing that's been happening is that people are contacting me wanting these same photographs for their kids. And I wish I could do this for every single kid, but you know, with 1,000+ requests, it's just impossible. One of the coolest things that happened, obviously, was that the kids were so inspired and they got out of their mental state where they were just sick and sad, and they got out of that. And I mean, we had so many fun activities. DC helped. They set up stuff with the actors. They set up private screening, all these surprises for the kids. That was super awesome. The second cool thing that happened was I was in Italy at the time. This was a few months ago, and I had Italian national TV reach out to me out of nowhere. It was because they saw it on a Facebook page, something. And I went on live to like millions of people, and I was with this doctor that had invited me. He's a really famous doctor over there. And he said that this photo shoot, I mean, this is how weird and crazy this thing is that we've been doing. He said that this photo shoot inspired them to open up a new line of research into like the effects that this type of activity can have on kids, like emotional effects and healing. And so they opened up a whole new line of research with all these famous doctors. And, you know, I'm over here, like, you know, I'm just a photographer, you know what I mean? I just wanted to make a difference, and I'm a photographer. And so going back to how I shot religious art, which I have nothing against that, but, you know, sometimes it's like we have our path. I think the important thing is that we have good desires and we go down a path. And if it's not the right path, then if you're meant to do something big, things will switch. And the main thing is just movement. Just keep moving forward. And that's what we did. You know, we just kept pushing forward. We're like, I don't know where this is going. And it just turned into something huge. And so now we have other photo shoots, and I can tell you in a little bit more about those, but, you know, other photo shoots in the future that are just going to be even bigger than this one. So yeah, it's just really exciting.
I mean, you should be, I mean, what you've done is so incredibly powerful. I interviewed an amazing guy called Johann Hari a few days ago. He's an author of a book about depression, and I've been listening to the audiobook. It only just recently came out, talking about how with so many drugs, it's like you know, people get placebos, but it's being told that this is how this works is going to make you better. He does a study. There was a story about a guy that had this kind of miracle stick that was healing people of all their pain. It was nothing. The guy just made it up, but people believed that it was doing it, and it made a massive difference. And so that's one thing. Then there was another story that I heard about a guy who had a really incredible father. The kid had a hearing aid, and he would go to school and feel picked on and bullied. And the dad said, well, you should pretend that you've got this kind of radio that kind of gets you all the intel about all the baseball games that are happening, and just pretend that's what's going on in school. And so the kid did, and all of his school friends started to get jealous, and he was the cool guy that had the thing. And what you've done with these kids is you've taken something that they before may have felt one way about, and made it this like incredibly powerful, amazing, awesome thing to be proud about, which must be helping so much. So like, I'd be fascinated to know about that research and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't realize that it was going to have an effect on these kids like that. And I just want to make them feel better. Me and my wife did. And at some point I got a ton of medical professionals reaching out to me, nurses from hospitals saying, hey, our whole hospital has been checking out this video all day, and it's just crazy what you've done. And I didn't understand why they were so excited about it. I said, yeah, it's a cool photo shoot. It's helping the kids. It's emotional. But why are medical professionals so like obsessing over this? Or why is this like something so new? And I realized after asking, it was that in hospitals, they have all these brochures of sick kids. Whenever you see a sick kid, what does it look like? It's like gray, these black and white photos of kids being sick, medications. I mean, look at all the commercials about like, if you're depressed, take this. If you're sick with this disease, take this. It's all blue and dark. So the fact that I added light to this whole situation and turn the perception of being sick, not of like you are a sick person, but you are like actually more powerful than the rest of us because you've been through trials, So that's the one thing that I took from this was just it's actually helping people to think that, they're superheroes. I mean, and it's the truth, it's just revealing what me and my wife did, just revealed the truth of these actual people.
I love it. I absolutely love it. And I can't wait to find out about other things you're up to. Let me just read some of the comments. I just loved it, says Krishna. Hi, guys, everybody. By the way, Rebma says, I don't know what that means. I don't know. I tried to read that. Alina says, great job, Josh. Carrie says, that was awesome. So apparently it did work for everyone. Music was way too loud. Thanks, Joshua. I'll turn it down next time. Jeff says, perfect. Leo said it worked. Hey, Leo. These photos say more than 1,000 words. They make you believe. Yes, they do. Jeff says, saw this video earlier today and it blew me away. Awesome stuff. Ramba says, wow, I love this. You both look great, we got from Jeff. So you're doing all right, Josh.
Good, okay.
Leo says, this is an amazing way to empower children who need support. Yes. And there was a really great question that we had from somebody. Where did it go? Some Facebook comments can be really weird. Somebody had a question which was, it seems to have gone, but I did catch it earlier. When you... like being nervous about showing your art, showing your work, was there ever a time where you kind of there's a video that I'm going to post as well in the comments. I'll do that now. It's called like In the Gap, in the space between where you've got an idea of where you want to go and where you want to be, but you're not quite there yet. So the stuff that you're making when you're trying to figure stuff out is a bit crappy. It's not very good and you get disheartened really easily. Did you ever go through that? And what advice would you give to people that are kind of nervous about putting themselves out there and just like putting their work out there?
Man, every single time I came up with a project, I just felt like quitting. I mean, so now we started a year and a half ago with just these crazy photo shoots and every time they've gone extremely viral, 100 million views, 200 million views. And the first time was the Wonder Woman shoot. And I remember it was the first time ever I did a shoot like this. And I just felt completely like quitting halfway through. I said, this is ridiculous. People aren't going to like this. It just seems so dumb. And then, like me, I'm trying. Sometimes we think like, oh, we're trying too hard. People are going to think that we're trying too hard if we go out with this. And I almost quit every single photo shoot. I got to the editing process and I was like, man, these images just aren't turning out. I'm just going to quit. And honestly, it's just the push through. I mean, there's no magical like, I mean, if you're married, maybe you have a magical wife or husband. My wife, that's how she helped me. She's like, what are you talking about? You got to keep going through, you know? But ultimately it comes down to you and the decision you make to just keep moving through. And I mean, like I said, it's not magical. It's just freaking hard work. Sometimes you just got to push through on your ideas, and they might be stupid. I've done plenty of dumb ideas that some are like, have been embarrassing, and I've been embarrassed. But one quote that I love, it says something like, the amount of success you have is based on the uncomfortable conversations that you have, or the number of uncomfortable conversations you have. And I can translate that to like the number of uncomfortable just moments that you have, embarrassed moments. As long as you're willing to get out there and just put your name out there. I'm sure when you started this, you know, it wasn't like all perfect and good content. I mean, I've started so many things that is just crap content until you find that one thing. So it's just a process of learning, you know, you just do one thing, learn, and keep pushing through it. So
I agree. It's getting out of our own way. For me, it's we always have such high standards, and we're like, I moved out to LA originally for acting, and it's like, I wanted to be this Oscar-worthy winning actress. And it's like, you have to do the work to get there. You have to just be open and get there. Nobody just starts like here. Yeah. And so, yeah, it's just getting out of our own way. And also for me, it's like, I've posted a few things on here that's like very vulnerable, very, very open, very honest and raw. And I'm like, what are people going to say? Someone's going to judge it. And it's just like, who cares? What's my intention? Some people are going to think I'm a dick. Some people are going to think that it's great, whatever. I'm okay with the reason that I'm doing it. And so I'm going to share it for that respect. And some people are going to love it. Some people are going to hate it. Just go for it. So
yeah. And I think you have to go through all the crap times, because that's how you get to actually know what good content is, or know what something good is. You know, I know a lot of people that can't make decisions. They take forever. They're like, should I do this or should I do this? The only reason they're like that isn't because they're dumb or anything. It's because they just don't have experience. They don't know what this option is like, and they don't know what this option is like. But if they move through and they actually pick something, a year down the road, they're going to know. And so, you know, maybe release something vulnerable, and then next time you're like, oh, that worked really well. That helped a lot of people. Let's release more vulnerable stuff, you know? So it's just like, literally, it's just experience. It's nothing magical. It's just do the thing. Just keep putting it out there. Like, put your stuff out there.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Thank you. The exact quote was, how do I get over my fear of my art being judged critically by loved ones? I'm not fussed about others. That was the comment from Rima.
Don't even listen to your family and what they think of it.
Unless you have a superhero husband or wife that like
yeah, no, I mean, I'm just kidding.
Makes it all happen.
They're always like biased one way or the other, you know. So there's something where, you know, people closest to you, people in your own home reject you, and then people outside love you. You know, there's that thing. And there's the other side of it where your home loves you but everybody else rejects you. I would rather have my family not particularly like what I do, or the people that I know, but everybody else. You know, and I see that happening more than the other, is where the people closest to you, they know you, they don't see your growth. They might see you still as like a little kid, or, you know, whatever. And everybody else loves your stuff. I'd rather that situation. So I don't think you should, I don't know, focus too much on what your family thinks, not in a bad way, but you know.
Well, it's interesting. I was having this conversation a couple of days ago. I've been very fortunate just to have very supportive people in my life that have always said, yep, we believe in you. You're capable of doing this, and blah, blah, and I'm like, wow, actually, I think I'm really lucky to have had that. However, there's people who have the opposite, where they are not supported. People don't believe in them, and they can either give up, or they go out and say, I'm going to go out and prove you wrong. And then that's their entire focus, is to go and prove people wrong. And so it's not even so much who believes in you, who doesn't, who likes your stuff, who doesn't. It's just, how do you take that? Because then sometimes I think in my own life, because everyone believes in me, I'm like, oh, it's fine. Yeah, I'll just do it. You know, I'll do it, whatever. Because everyone else thinks I'll do it, so I can do it, of course. But then not really putting myself out there enough. So yeah, it's less to do with, what people think, and more to do with how do you channel that perception, and what do you do with that.
Totally. And I mean, I've had both happen, where family loves it, and I've had super supportive family. You know, they love most of the stuff that I do, most everything, and then other people don't. But then I've had other times especially during these series, people close to me, my friends, said that these were going to be just kind of dumb ideas, actually,
Wow.
300 million views later. It's like, oh, I think this is like an okay idea. I would tell it to a few people like, oh, it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's all right. It's like, okay. And then now I've the people that didn't actually believe in me, they're asking me how I did it. And
Right.
so anyway, it's just a lot of that same thing. Just keep going. So
yeah, I had that same thing with somebody kind of criticizing a business venture idea that I had, and why is she doing that? That's stupid. And it's turned into a very successful business that I don't have to do anything with. So it's like, but when I heard that comment, it initially made me feel bad, and it made me kind of question myself a little bit. And so it's just being mindful of how do we deal with these interactions from people.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah, Redma says, I'm looking at it the wrong way around. Thank you. You are welcome.
That's awesome. I'm trying to find comments here too.
Yeah, so if you go to the video, like it's weird. If you click on the time of the video, then it pops up. Like sometimes they don't always pop up in real time, and it gets a little bit annoying. Right. Okay, what was my other questions?
That was super LA sounding. What the heck?
I know, right? I get really LA sometimes. So what you do this is like a philanthropic thing. You've also got your commercial stuff that you do, but then you also have a lot of courses on photography, Photoshop, all those types of things. And one of the things I noticed was one about teaching people about business in the arts, because that's something that I don't think at drama school I wasn't taught enough. And just generally in life, I have a lot of people that reach out saying, I want to turn my passion into a business, but I don't know where to start, or because we're not taught that. So obviously people can check out your course, but what advice would you give to people? I mean, you're in photography, but people kind of turning their passion into a business.
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, how much time do we have? Dang.
I mean, it's normally half an hour, but I like, if you're cool, I'm cool to go longer.
I would give you the whole dang course if I could, but no, yeah, I'll talk about a few things. So, turning so for artists, like turning passion into what you do or into money, man, there's so much there. Holy cow. Okay, the main thing is that I preach, that I'm 100% about is influencer marketing, but it's in a different way. You might be familiar with influencer marketing, and a lot of people influencer marketing in general, for those that don't know, it's basically like, in the past it was Pepsi going to Britney Spears and paying Britney Spears to push that to her audience, and be like the face of the brand. Influencer marketing, instead of just pushing an ad saying, hey, drink Pepsi, Pepsi's cool, right? So there's more influence when you bring in that influential person. So nowadays it's available to all of us, where influencers, maybe you're not Britney Spears, maybe you don't have like 10 billion followers, but you have 1 million something. So you're a really good influencer. And it's opened up this huge possibility for businesses nowadays, especially artists, working with influencers. So for example, if I were to do influencer marketing with you, let's say I want to get to your audience and maybe businesses follow you or something. And so what I do is I'd reach out to you and I'd say, do you want a free photo shoot, right? Do you want a free photo shoot for your Facebook ads? And I'm sure you'd love
yes, please.
Photos, right?
So, are we serious? Or are you just being?
Yeah,
it's just an example.
Sure, like I'm in Utah, so that's just influencer marketing right there, and I'm totally down. Done. You guys saw how that's the story of my life, my success in commercial photography, and as an artist, because I'm sort of like photographer / digital artist. It's reaching out to the influencers, offering something that they need. And then, but with no strings attached, right? Like obviously I told you, to connect with your audience, but in reality, I would just reach out to somebody and say, hey, let me offer this to you for free. So there's a lot of sweat equity that goes into that. I've spent hundreds and hundreds of hours editing and going out to people. So it's a lot of hard work, but like hard work alone doesn't lead to success. It's also prudence. It's making good decisions. Mm-hmm. So, you hear there's a lot of big influencers that are talking about this right now, where, there's gardeners that work 10 times harder than you do, so why aren't they making millions of dollars? Mm-hmm. So there's the hard work along with prudence, making good decisions. And so influencer marketing would be a good decision. How do you do it more specifically? You don't ask for anything ever. It's all about giving, so if people aren't responding to your emails, it's because you're not offering what they need. That's really what it comes down to. And then at the same time, so you offer them what they need, you get in with them, you do multiple collaborations, and that leads to referral work. You know, maybe, so let's use me as a scenario. So I would offer you a free photo shoot. Obviously you'd love that because you just told me. So I'd fly out on my own dollar, you know, from Utah to LA. It costs like $150, rent a car, maybe it's $500 total. Do the shoot, deliver the images to you. No, you know, I would not expect anything. And I'll explain that in 1 second because that's really important. I wouldn't say, hey, can you post on your Instagram or Facebook? I would just give you those photos. And so then what happens in you, psychological principle of NLP is reciprocity.
Give something back.
Right.
Yeah.
So reciprocity basically is, you know, if you give something to somebody unexpectedly, they'll feel in debt to you. And you always want to create that indebted feeling in people. You don't want to ask for anything, right? You just create that feeling. And then you naturally would probably be like, oh, these photos are cool. Let me post them on my Facebook page, right? Or let me post them here, there. And from there, I would get exposure. It would lead me to, you know, maybe a contact in your audience that saw that work and called me, or they'd contact you and said, hey, who did your photography? Or maybe you would refer me to somebody else because you'd feel that reciprocity and you'd say, hey, I know another big influencer, you know, another big page that could use photos, right? So that's how I build my business. That's how artists need to be building their business, is using law of reciprocity, number one. Number two, the right way in is influencers. One last thing I want to talk about is how to contact influencers. These people that are very busy. You got to find what platform they're on. Like, that sounds so simple, but people are scared to do that. They're scared to do the research. So everybody's sending out emails. Like, you find somebody big, you know, let's say somebody wants to contact you. What are they going to do? They're going to send you an email. You might not even read your emails. Maybe you're just on Twitter, you're Twitter hog. You just like are obsessed with Instagram or something, right? So you have to do research, figure out what platform does that person use, and that's where you contact them. So, I mean, I've contacted people like big celebrities through Twitter that respond, some through Instagram messages, occasionally through email, Facebook. You know, I'm sending messages all over the place.
Try and catch them however
to catch them and offer something to them. So anyway, that's holy cow.
That's brilliant. So is this all covered in your course?
Yeah, it's all covered. There's actually a free course that covers this more in detail. I do all sorts of free courses. I mean, I don't know, if you're interested, you can reach out to me. I don't have right now I'm doing one called the 10 Commandments of Marketing for photographers or for artists. So I'm not sure how much that would apply, but we do other stuff on, you know, influencer marketing. I break it down and I show you, for example, this is cool. I broke down, because people are like, how soon can I get work after doing influencer marketing? And I tracked it, and it's about 9 months from when I offered a free shoot to somebody. I got a high paying job about 9 months after. So imagine that. You can change your year today. Like, you can literally change 2018 today by doing the correct steps, by reaching out to the right people, you know, and then getting that work. And it really comes down to the quality of influencers. So for example, I keep going on this, but this is important. If I reach out to you and offer you a free photo shoot just because you have 1 million, that might not do anything for me. That's where people get it wrong, right? Because my audience, I'm looking for big companies like Adobe, Acura, Nickelodeon, you know, whatever.
Right.
Do they follow you? Probably, maybe not. I don't know.
Right.
That's the thing. So you got to be
smart about who you're.
You got to be smart. People get all off with influencer marketing. They do it wrong. They don't offer the right things. They don't offer them to the right people. So once again, hard work along with, you know, prudence, making good decisions, like researching. It's strategy, figuring out who the right influencers are that are going to benefit your brand, and then offering something to them. So,
dude, this is genius. Like,
cool.
Yeah. I'm going to be taking your courses. No joke.
Yeah. You'll be a pro photographer next year.
Well, I mean, it's taking the principles, you know, it's like taking the principles of what you're saying. Yeah. Like, it's also relevant. And I love just how much value you're bringing to everything, like just tons of value, which is, I think, what it's all about. So yeah, you were saying about like the next project.
Oh
What's
yeah.
coming up now? What other amazing things have you got planned?
So this is the first time like actually announcing it. I can't go too much into detail, but
Okay.
first time announcing, I've never announced it. It's basically we're working on a bully project. So an anti-bullying campaign where we're doing something similar to the last shoot, but it's going to be times 10. So we're photographing 14 kids that have been just severely bullied. I mean, to the point of just like wanting to commit suicide. No, and people, I can't believe this stuff actually happens. People are telling these kids that they need to die. You know, they sign petitions at school. Like these are kids in Utah and other places, California, that we know of. And, you know, friends of friends and whatever. And, you know, people in school are actually signing petitions for one person to die. Like, how crazy is that? You know what I mean? I mean, that's like an extreme scenario. And then I knew of a girl that I was going to reach out to her, and we found out that, I mean, this is super sad. We found out that she had committed suicide 2 weeks previous. I wanted her in our project, and I was like, I want to shoot this girl and help her out. And she was just a cute girl, and people were saying that she was ugly and that she should kill herself, and she actually did it. And so it's super sad. It's just a really sad thing that's going on is bullying, and it's going on behind the scenes, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a huge project. We have celebrity pushes, and it's going to be massive. We just want to change perception of bullying and make these bullied kids, you know, feel confident, feel strong. We want to put a message out there. And yeah, I mean, it even started, this is just like a little example, but like my daughter, when I first did the Wonder Woman series, somebody is so dumb, like it got posted on some really popular magazine, like about makeup and whatever. And one lady was like, man, your daughter is just hideous. Like she needs to change her. Why didn't you spend that $1,500 on her teeth, like cosmetic surgery, you know? And my daughter's 3.
Wow.
And so cyberbullying happens all the time. I'm sure you get it. I don't know. Maybe you don't. I mean, your thing.
We have a community moderator that removes and bans nasty people.
Yeah.
I was like, if you can't, like, I don't even mind. You can have a difference of opinion. Totally. You can say that, oh, you think I'm wrong. Totally. But being nasty and hateful and cruel like that, I ain't got time for that.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can, being online, you can, and owning a business, you can kind of like filter stuff out like that. But, you know, I'm selling things online, and it gets even more brutal at that point, you know, doing videos of yourself, selling courses, whatever you do, selling software. But, yeah, that's the project. It's not just cyberbullying, it's bullying in general. And it's just to, you know, raise awareness, stop it. So if anybody is on here, watching this, I'd love for you to just push the project when you see it. We don't get paid for these. There's no like product sponsorships or anything. It's just to get it out there and change people's perception of things and help these kids. So
yeah,
that's
what I love. Just like taking your art and talent and skill and just doing something so powerful and helpful with it. Like we've all got something we're good at that we can then go and take out and enjoy the thing that we're good at, but also bring joy and help other people.
Yeah, totally.
I'm reading The Artist's Way right now. Have you heard of it before?
I haven't.
It's a book about kind of getting through blockages and finding your creativity and stuff like that. And I just wanted to ask you about your process. Like, how do you get inspired? I kind of saw how you work, and you go to different locations and shoot stuff, and then you kind of get the people or whatever. But what's your process? Is there places that you go for inspiration? Do you ever get blocked?
Oh, totally. And I'll talk about 2 things because it just came to my head about, first, just creating in general. People stop a lot of times, because at least I stopped before getting to the actual process, because I thought it was too big. I didn't have the right tools. I didn't have the right camera, the right canvas, the right whatever to produce that. And so that stops a lot of people, is just those logistical things. Like I just don't have the tools to do that. But that being said, that's what actually pushed me to get better, not having the correct tools and trying to strategize, because ultimately it comes down to you being a strategist, your own strategist, strategizing about how to finish projects. You know, that's going to get you to the next step, how to produce things. Once again, going back to what I mentioned at the very beginning, you just have to do it because it's going to suck. It's going to be horrible at first. Like, or maybe you just get lucky and you get a good one. But a lot of initial projects are just going to be bad, and you just have to get through that. The second thing I was going to mention was, hold on, it was about the viral series. I can't remember.
I was saying about getting stuck on, do you ever get stuck? Where do you find your inspiration? And do you ever like get blocked sometimes?
Oh yeah. One other thing is, so for anybody wanting to do something bigger in a series that, or, you know, whatever it is, an art piece or whatever, the key is doing something not just better, but doing something new. So that's just in business in general. People don't necessarily care about better. They care about new. And so Coke and Pepsi, they did a blind taste test, and everybody picked Pepsi because it tasted better. Like literally people picked Pepsi because it tastes better, until they took the mask off and they saw the brands. Everybody picked Coke, not, you know, 100%, but the Coke won. So how weird is that? The people don't care about better. They care about first, and they care about new. So if you come out with something first, they'll care about it. If it's new, they'll care about it. So that being said, a lot of artists have really creative ideas, but they might not be necessarily new. They might not be, you know, something that would catch that attention. And that's absolutely what you need when you're creating something is new, it's fresh, it's different. So like I've been trying to get my stuff to go viral for years, you know, learning as a photographer. I was always thinking, like, how do I get stuff to go viral? How do I get my name out there to the public? And so I do all the things that I personally liked. I would photograph, like, I don't know, fashion, and I would do cars and whatever. But no, people didn't care about that because it's been done before. Until I met a friend, and I was like, man, there's this photographer that's going really viral. He does stuff with his kids. Why does he go viral? And my friend was like, well, first of all, not many people do photographs of kids. And then secondly, like he's touching on something that a lot of people have in common is kids. People love their kids and they love seeing these things. So from there, I got the idea, okay, let's change directions. I absolutely love doing photos of my daughter. So it's not something I hate doing. It just changed the direction a little bit. And I think every artist needs this, is where you take what you love and you need to make it a little bit more mainstream, and you need to add some newness to it and something different. Because if it's not different, if it's not new, people aren't going to notice it. One last thing, I always remember this guy. He's an artist. I don't even know who he is. I just heard about the concept, which is cool. So he's an artist that takes photographs of just empty rooms, but he hides a celebrity. There's always a celebrity behind like a couch or something. So you can't see the celebrity, but it's just a picture of a room, and he's selling for millions of dollars. And it's just such a unique, interesting idea. And I was like, man, why didn't I think of that? But see, if you do that, if I were to do that, nobody would care because it's already been done. Anyway.
Right. That's wild. And there's a couple of things. I was literally having a conversation within the last couple of days about or maybe I was listening to it in an audiobook or something. You're on your path and just being open to all of these things that present themselves to you, rather than just being like, this is me, this is what I'm doing, I'm not going to divulge, you know. And so that's what you said. That's been my way that I found it. I came out here to do acting, and it was kind of like, I kind of ventured off into doing something that is a bit more meaningful that I want to be doing. And we just have to be open to that too.
I love that. I love it. Because it's like everybody has this cliche, like, I want to be an actress. Not saying that's the cliche, but I'm saying the idea of, I want to be an actress. I want to be a photographer, like commercial photographer. I want to be I don't know, like the president. But ultimately you have to think, why do I want to be those things? You know, and there's different avenues to it. So if maybe you go to LA to become a famous actress, but instead you actually end up doing what you love doing. And it brings you more fulfillment. It brings you more success. It brings you more happiness, more involvement with other people, you know. And that's my story. I mean, I'm from, you know, Utah. Like, people probably haven't even heard of Utah. It's Sandy. Like, where the heck is that? And so, you know, this kid from Sandy is going out affecting the world. It's just, that's the thing. It's not the path that I necessarily thought of, but doing exactly what you said. Don't be stuck on, I want to be that one thing, you know, just be open to possibilities. So like, I love that.
Totally. And it's when opportunities present themselves, or when something's working as well, don't ignore it. Like if you'd have done that photo shoot with your daughter and then went straight back to doing, the same stuff that you'd always done, you're like, no, listen, see what works, see what resonates.
I love that.
And build on it, which you're definitely doing. That bullying thing, you heard of Prince EA?
Say it again. Have I heard of Prince EA? No.
Yeah. I want to introduce you guys because he's really passionate about like anti-bullying stuff, and yeah, I think you'll love that idea. So Amy's from Utah, lol. Ashley says, wow, your site is amazing, Josh. Yes, the pictures.
Cool, thank
incredible. Great energy towards a problem we need to resolve. So that was a few minutes ago when you were talking about something I can't remember now. Olea says, would love to do one of your programs, but I'm in another country. They're online, right?
Yeah, they're all online. So
they're all online, Olea. You're all good. Sorry, can you say that? Alina
I'm reading
says,
some of these as well.
Yeah, she says, I love how you're thinking, Josh. I hope you reach all your goals. Ashley says, this is great info, guys. Amy says, my husband is a digital artist and we are working towards doing art full time. We have a solid business idea and marketing plan. Do we wait and cut back on his day job a little at a time, or should we just jump full time into the art? Question mark.
No, I think great question. That's amazing. I think you should like slowly go into it. I mean, it's being realistic, like two things. People say, do what you're passionate about and it'll work out. That's not really true. Like I say, okay, do what you're passionate about, figure out how to make money at it. And if that doesn't work, go where the money's at. I mean, that sounds brutal, but with an artist, you always have to do, especially as an artist, you have to do what you love. But for example, I would have never thought of doing kids' portraits, right? Or here's the other thing. I would have never thought of teaching photography, right? Or I would have never thought of creating software, which this is my software electric for photographers. Not wearing this on purpose, by the way, no product promotion. I'll bring
you can promote all you like.
No, so like I'm a photographer. I never thought I'd be doing these things, but ultimately, what do you ultimately want from being a photographer? You want freedom, or as an artist, you want freedom. That's like, why do you do your own business? Freedom. And so go towards the freedom. You don't want to get stuck. You don't want to be in a prison doing something. Anyway, on a side note, now answering the question, yes, go slowly. I did it when I didn't have a family and I just went cold turkey, but I did have a marketing plan and it actually worked out. But I cut it close. A lot of people do it and it doesn't work. You have to be realistic and, make sure that your art is bringing in full income and then just sort of slowly transfer over.
I 100% agree with that point. And from my experience of moving out to LA and doing the whole actress in LA thing, when you are struggling financially and you're worried about paying your rent or getting food or paying your bills, it makes it very difficult to enjoy and do the work when you've got that mental pressure. And so for me, my advice to anyone that thinks about moving out here is figure out an income, a way of having an income so that you can take classes, so that you can do the stuff, so that you can be okay with that. And then I also did another interview with an amazing woman called Kelly Levesque a few months ago. And she was a biochemist who got into nutrition. And she said that she called it a soft landing. So she had a well-paid job, that biochemistry thing, but she didn't love it. It wasn't the passion. And so she started doing the nutrition stuff. And like you suggested, Josh, in the beginning, she was basically just offering her services for free. She was doing the influencer marketing thing. And she could afford to because she had her other job paying for things. She was obviously busy. She was doing two things. But then it allowed her to build the nutrition business and all that kind of stuff to the point where she could let go of the other job, and she called it a soft landing. So I'd recommend, I'm in agreement with you there. Like,
I love that.
Yeah.
And I love what you said, that you mentioned noticing when something's working and pushing forward on that. So here's the thing. Quitting your job isn't going to give you the income that you need, right? Like you're thinking, should I quit my job? No, the answer should be, should I implement my marketing now as I have a job? Yes. Because if it doesn't work right now, then it's not going to work when you're full-time trying that. If anything, it's just going to be a horrible grind and you're going to go back to your regular job. So if something, you have to be good at noticing when something works, and then just like you said, and then go towards that. So you can get little hints. I have a friend, talking strictly business, I have a friend that makes like 3D prints, different products, and he literally, it's hilarious, but he will post a product up on his page that's not even created yet. He'll just create a 3D rendering, post it up, have descriptions, and you'll see who likes those products. And he'll actually take pre-orders. If he gets enough pre-orders, he'll create the product because he knows that that is working, right?
Genius,
so he doesn't go through all of the process first. So anyway,
right.
you know, as artists, same thing. You got to test stuff. You can't just quit cold turkey and expect for everything to work out.
Yeah, yeah. Agree. I agree with you there. Amy says, thank you. It's hard to listen to people that haven't done it themselves, and we have 5 kids. So that was helpful.
Yeah.
Ashley says, I'm more of a videographer, moved from the UK to Vancouver. Some small personal projects, want to do something bigger. Yeah, I think that was all the comments.
Read 100%. This is one of my favorite books I've ever read. It's called The 22 Immutable Laws of Marketing.
Okay.
It's super short. I mean, it's meant for the creative. It's like an hour and a half long audiobook, but or just
22 immutable laws of what?
Marketing.
Okay.
22 immutable laws of marketing. I mean, I would want to force everybody to read this, because this is like one of those life books that you'll read it and it'll blow your mind as far as marketing and as far as pushing your next project. It's like the most true book, a marketing book that I've ever read. And it talks about how you can be, you know, it talks about these principles, like what I mentioned, being first in the market is always good. If you're not first, then you have to create your own category where you can be first in. For example, Coke was, you know, soda, the king of soda. So if somebody else comes in, king of soda, it's difficult to compete with them, right? They're going to lose market share. So, but what if you come in as the first lemon lime soda? Then you're Sprite all of a sudden, and Sprite doesn't even compete with Coke, right? They're two different audiences, everything. So you know, it talks about amazing concepts like that, like be first in the market. If you're not, create another category. Then it says, this is getting way into business. I love it. Then
it's all helpful.
Here's the interesting thing is it says one strategy, if you are on par, like you're next to somebody else, you're competing, a marketing strategy that works is to go against them, to specifically, like for example, Whopper against the Big Mac. So Burger King against McDonald's, 100%. Pepsi against Coke. They in the statistics over the years, they actually lost market share when they stopped going against the companies, when they stopped doing ads against them and going on the attack. When they started saying, you know, Pepsi was something about, initially it was, you know, we're the younger crowd. Coke is the older crowd. We're the younger crowd, you know, and they did this Gen X thing. Then they started losing market share when they had a tagline called refresh everything. And it's like so generic. All of a sudden, oh, you're in competition with Coke. Coke wins. They lost market share. So anyway, it talks about like crazy stuff like that, how to get in people's minds, how to be the first in people's minds, which that's ultimately most important. But yeah, suggest that to everybody.
I've already written it. I've left it in the comments and I will be ordering that. It sounds awesome. Well, Josh, this has been like this is what I love about doing these things. For me, I'm like, so much valuable information. Thank you. So I know that it's going to benefit a huge amount of people.
Yeah, I love it. Thanks for having me on.
My pleasure. Thanks for what you do. Like I've got, I'll have like links to your page and website and the courses and stuff like that. I'll have all of that in the comments so people can find you. Anything else that you just want to kind of tell people about before we wrap up, or a good place? What's your place? You know, you're saying like, is it Facebook or you're a Twitter hog? Like what's your,
let's see.
What's your platform of choice?
I don't answer. I mean, it's too hard for me to answer on Instagram sometimes, or like to even get those like Instagram messages. Twitter, no. Twitter's the worst for me. Facebook messages is the worst. I think email for me is the best.
Gotcha.
One thing I do want to say is like I feel like over the years I've created, and not talking anything about, you know, me, I'm so great, whatever, but over the years I learned certain little things and they've just stuck with me. And one of them was write down an idea as soon as you have it. And I think that's super important. That's super important. Write down the idea as soon as you have it, even if it's the middle of the night, you wake up and write it down. And that way your inspiration stays fresh. I was going to show you my feed of notes. I mean, it's like, it's just endless notes. This is just side notes.
I'm all about it. Oh wait, that's just what?
side notes. Those are just those aren't even like, I haven't even acted on most of those. Those are just notes that I have, ideas.
Wow.
You know, and within that, there's probably books worth of stuff. I'm not saying, once again, not saying like, oh, I'm so good and cool. It's just good for reference. It gets it off. The other thing that I wanted to mention that I've been, last thing, absolute last thing, but
this is all fantastic. You can keep going.
Something I've been thinking about lately is that people don't progress because they're not asking the right questions. I get so many people in my school that are asking just the absolute wrong questions. They ask, how do I get into commercial photography? I'm like, dude, that is the absolute wrong question. And I know that you're still there because you haven't acted. You haven't like actually acted on any of the content. Like a lot of people ask that question, you know, not dissing on any students, because that's the whole point of the school, is to get them there. But it's like you once you act, then, and you actually apply the content, then you can start asking the right questions. So instead of saying, how do I get into commercial photography? The right question would be, how do I contact this influencer? Or is this specific influencer, you know, the right one for me? Or, you know, who is my target audience that I'm trying to reach, type thing? You know, that there's different questions. And if people ask the wrong questions, they're going to continue asking those wrong questions over and over and over again.
Here's the thing though. So there's a fantastic book that I love called The Magic Question by Bart A. Baggett. And it's about how we always ask ourselves the wrong questions in like, why am I single? Why can't I find my dream job? Why do I not have enough money? And then our subconscious goes to finding all the reasons that we don't. It doesn't help in any way. So it's rephrasing the questions so that you get your mind finding solutions. So with the thing that you said, my question is, why is that the wrong question? Because if they don't even know the skills, influencer marketing, you know, all these different things that you teach, if they don't know that, then why is that the wrong question if they don't know those things yet? Because surely
it's because there's a lot of okay, so I'm not saying all questions are bad. Like that question, sure, it's good once. How do you get into commercial photography? But it's the wrong question to ask me. It's the wrong question to ask a professional. When you have a professional in front of you, that's the absolute wrong question. You're not going to get, so for example, if you're the photographer and you ask me, you know, you have my attention. I've done work for big clients. You're trying to get there. You ask me, how do I get into commercial photography? That's not a question I can answer. It's just like so big. What that tells me is you haven't done the legwork on your own.
Right.
You know?
Right. You know nothing.
Yeah. And so it's like not a terrible question, but it's a terrible question for, you know, the person you have in front of you in that
I
sense.
get what you're saying. So yeah, be prepared to know enough so that when you have an opportunity to speak to somebody, you can ask more specific questions that are actually going to get you closer.
Yeah, and for example, how do I get into commercial photography? That's the initial question. That's not going to get you. See, if I answered that, like if there were one answer for that, it wouldn't get you to become a commercial photographer, because there's so much like legwork that you have to do. There's 10,000 questions within that you should be asking. For example, I first started doing, so for example, I have my online school, and to sell my online school, I had no clue how to do it at first. I was selling tutorials. I was like putting stuff on Facebook. And so, you know, I had the initial question, how do I sell an online product? That's like the most generic thing ever, because there's not one answer for that. So I started doing my own research. That was my internal question. It wasn't a question that I had. So I guess I've got to be more specific about that. But my internal question was, how do I sell my product online? And so I did as much research as I could. I paid for coaching, I did all this, until I got to the right question that actually brought me success. Because that's what I'm trying to say right here. There's certain questions that will actually make you progress and bring success. They'll be game changers. My game changer question was, what is the conversion rate from Facebook to a webinar? What should a conversion rate be? Meaning, what should somebody pay to sign up for my webinar so that I can make money on the back end? So I did all the research that I possibly could until I got to that question that absolutely blocked me. And then I reached out to somebody that knew the question. I got the answer. And from there, my business skyrocketed. So it's just a matter of like asking the right questions. You know, a lot of people are all in the same boat. They're asking, how do I become successful as an artist? Right? Like, how would you answer that? Like, how do you become successful as an artist? There's like a billion answers that. That's not the right question that's going to help you progress.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the right question is, if I'm a commercial photographer, how do I estimate correctly to be able to get a $50,000 job? That's the right question. That's going to lead you from not progressing to making 50K, 100K, 200K a year and have a different life. So you just got to ask the right questions. So anyway, that's my roundabout way of talking about that book that you read about questions, which I haven't read it, so.
Awesome. And you do speaking too. You do speaking engagements and stuff like that. I can see why. Yeah. Fabulous. Josh, this has been amazing. We went on way longer and it didn't even feel like it. So we could keep going, but thank you. Yes, I will have links to all of Josh's stuff. Make sure you check out his courses. I want to be doing the marketing one. I'm going to get that book that you recommended as well, because it's incredible. Definitely when the bullying thing comes out, that's 100% something that I want to promote and champion. We talk a lot about depression and things like that, and suicide. And I know that, like you said, by the story about the young girl. So more than happy to promote that a lot.
Awesome.
But yeah, thank you so much for your time. Thank you everyone for watching. Yes, it was.
I loved the conversation.
Me too. Thank you.
Okay.
Guys, I'll be back on Friday with Gabrielle Bernstein talking about her new book, Judgment Detox, which I'm super, super stoked about. So I said it at the beginning of the interview. If you haven't already, go to the Facebook page, following and then see first. And then to be notified when we go to Facebook Lives, following and then get notified of the live, and then you won't miss these awesome conversations. So yeah, Zane, the book was called 21, what was it called again?
22 Immutable Laws of Marketing. 22
Immutable Laws of Marketing. I wrote it down.
By Jack Reese, I think that's his name. Jack Reese and some other guy, I can't remember his name.
I'll put a link to it. Alina says, thank you guys. Thank you. But yeah, Josh, once again, you're awesome.
Thanks.
Thank
How
you.
do I X out of this then?
You're good. I'm going to stop the live stream. So yeah,
cool.
Bye, yo.